Hi, Stacey Anderson here with Getting Organized Magazine, and today's tidy task are shoes, which most of us have too many of. So we want to gather all of our shoes from everywhere that you might have them stored, from the closets to under the bed to outside the front door, wherever you've got them in the garage. Gather them all up and we want to go through them. So just like anything else clothing related, we want to try them on. We want to make sure that they still fit. We want to make sure that they don't hurt our feet. We want to make sure that they don't have any holes or stains or problems or anything like that with them. Then what we're going to do is decide how many we want to keep, how we're going to keep them, and what we're going to do with them. So we're going to just, again, touch every single item one by one and make a decision on it. So we're going to go ahead and pick up these shoes. We're going to try them on. We're going to make sure that they work. We're going to work their shoes. Of course they work. We want to make sure that they fit. We want to make sure that everything about them is comfortable, they work, everything is good. So once we decide what we're going to, if we're going to keep them, we're going to put them back. If we're going to donate them or toss them. Now, here's what's probably happening to a lot of you, and I know I've been guilty of this myself. It's really easy to tell when a pair of shoes, a jacket, a coat, a t-shirt, anything like that hasn't been worn in a long time because there's dust on it. So even if these do fit, even if you like them, even if you think they're a great shoe, you haven't worn these. And this is where the tough decisions come in with getting organized. You need to realize that even though this is a great pair of shoes, do they really need to be taking up real estate if you know you're not wearing them? And the proof is in the pudding. If you can wipe the dust off of them, you know you're not wearing them. You can't argue with that. So these are the ones that we might donate or sell or throw away. So again, we're just going to go through. We're trying all of our shoes on. We're figuring out what we want to do with them. This happens to be the women's version over here. So again, we're trying them on. We're making sure too. So like this is a great example. This is a flip-flop dress sandal type section over here. And oftentimes we don't have two shoes that go together. You may have one, but not the mate. And if you can't find the mate to the shoe, it's sort of hard to wear it. So the goal in today's tidy task is to gather all the shoes. Go wherever you think shoes might be. And if you can't find the mate, chances are it's ready in time to get rid of the one that you have, okay? I know that's hard because sometimes you think it's going to come back or you really like the shoe, but if you can't find it today, then you need to get rid of it. So again, with the shoes, we're going through all of them and figuring out what ones work, what ones don't work. We're also then setting our limits. So again, as we did with coats, as we've done with t-shirts, as we've done with anything else, we want to say, okay, we are going to keep as many shoes that will fit on a rack. We're willing to keep one brown, one black, one suede, one whatever. You need to figure out in your head what ones you know that you want to keep and how many of them. Because if you're not setting limits, then it's harder and harder to figure out when you need to get rid of shoes, other than the fact that they might not work or they get a hole in the bottom of them or something like that. So today's tidy task again is to try on all of our shoes. Now I also came up with a really neat idea. So when you're organizing your t-shirts, one of the organizing tricks you may have heard of is that the hangers usually kind of all face one direction. But if you turn the hanger the opposite direction on the rod so that it's facing away from you, and then when you wear a piece of clothing, you know, you'll take the hanger out and you'll put it back the normal way. That shows you that you've worn that outfit. So you've taken the hanger from the backwards direction to the proper direction. And then when you're looking at it, you say, okay, I've worn these 3 shirts, but there's still one that's hanging backwards and it's been 6 months. So I'm going to go ahead and toss that because I know I haven't worn it. Well, shoes are sort of the same way. I think sometimes, and maybe women are more guilty of this than men, we don't wear our shoes all the time, and we should be. So if you have a lot of pairs of sandals and you're not wearing them on a regular basis and they're taking up real estate for something else, or you could be selling them and making a little bit of extra money, something like that. So a couple of tips that you could do for this. You could, if you usually store your shoes this way, you could turn them around that way, and then you would know the next time you wore them, because you would store them, you know, the proper way, and you would know that they've been worn. And any shoes that were still facing that way after 6 months, you would know you'd not worn, and you could go ahead and donate them. The other tip that you might try is tying the shoelaces together. So taking both shoelaces and just tying them in a knot so that they're actually connected, because chances are you don't store your shoes like this, and if you do, then you'll have to try something else. So tie your shoes together and store them if they have laces. Obviously, with the flip-flops, that's not going to work. But tie them together, and then if in 6 months these shoes are still tied together, it means you haven't worn them, and it's probably time to get rid of them. Tidy task for today was shoes. So we want to go ahead and try them, gather them all together, try them on, decide what ones we're going to keep, which ones we're going to get rid of, and then storing them. So storing shoes is very unique and a little bit more tricky because you have so many choices. This is a shoe rack, which is fabulous. It gets the vertical space for you, so you're able to have in a small footprint. See, as you can see here, this one has an extra shelf on it. So in a small footprint, you can get quite a bit of storage out of it. But there are several other ways that you can store your shoes. So we're going to show you just a couple of other quick ways to do that so that you can see your options for organizing your shoes. Okay, so we were looking at shoes that were on a shoe rack, and this is a unique idea to be putting your shoes in drawer organizers. These happen to be a pair of boots. Actually, these are all boots in here. The nice thing about this is that it does keep the dust off, so if you're not wearing dress boots or things like that on a regular basis. The other thing that's really nice about this is that you can easily access them because they're drawers. Now, a lot of people will use shoe containers, which is another great way to do that. The problem with that is if you want the one down here on the bottom, what do you have to do? You have to take all the ones off the top to get to this one because you have to take the lid off. But with a drawer, you don't have to worry about removing lids and all that sort of thing. So this is one option that's really nice as far as that's concerned. Another one that's really nice, and this is a drawer pull out, and you can get these like at IKEA and things like that. So you can put your shoes in the tilt down drawers. And so you have a variety of shoes down there that's really nice. Now the third option that is a great way to do your shoes is, we're gonna go up above here in a closet. And you've probably seen and heard of this tip before. This is a great way to store dress shoes and things like that that you don't use very often. So we did put them in bins, and they do have lids on them to keep the dust off them. But in order to know what's inside of them, she has taken a picture and put it on the front so she knows exactly what kind of shoe is in there. It's easily organized. It's up above the clothing so that it's out of the way and you can get to it when you need it. So we hope that this tidy task organizing shoes was helpful to you. Enjoy!